is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are LA.
Halos are coming off a very good road trip. They finished 4-2 through Toronto and Detroit, and tonight they return home for a very long homestand. Not really, it's just 3 games. Interleague action is back among us. Cincinnati Reds in town for the first of 3 tonight. We welcome you inside the Big A and back to Angels Baseball on Fox Sports West. He's Mark Gubiza, and I'm Victor Rojas. And I mentioned the 4-2 road trip, and considering all things that the Angels have gone through this year, Mark, and especially prior to, as a matter of fact, including that first game in Toronto, an 11-game road losing streak, and they turned things around.
Yeah, they did everything really well, Victor, on this road trip. They hit the ball well, they pitched well, they defended very, very well. Batting average at .289 during that stretch there, and you're facing 2 really good offenses, and the team ERA 2.77 ERA. The bullpen very good, just a little over 2.5. But the big thing that jumps for me is this 1 error made. That's the first time this season they have won back-to-back series on a road trip. They played very, very well. Hopefully they'll be able to continue that here today against Cincinnati.
You mentioned a couple of good offenses. They ended up completing that road trip with a shutout win yesterday against the Tigers. And when we start facing a new team, it's always nice to compare Mike Trout plus the superstar from the other team. And for the Cincinnati Reds, of course, Joey Votto.
And Joey Votto's hitting .365 in his last 39 games. You're 2 of the best hitters in baseball. Take a look at our tools of the trade brought to you by Ram Trucks. You're going to see why they're very similar in some ways and just a little bit different in another. Here you see with Votto here on the left, he's got that stride, a little bit more of a bigger stride, leg kick about 9 inches high. Shorter as far as his stride here, go up there about a foot high as far as the leg kick and the foot down. The hands with the big thing for me, the difference, the separation, the hands to the body for Votto. On the left, Trout a little bit closer to the body, but when they go through the baseball, very good as far as short and through the baseball. Votto lets the ball travel a little bit longer, can drive the ball the other way. Trout with that short, compact swing himself. 2 extremely pretty swings, but they're short and quick through the zone. That's why they both hit so well, both at the top as far as on-base percentage in baseball.
Couple of right-handers on the mound tonight in Game 1. Dan Straley for Cincinnati, Matt Shoemaker for the Angels. We're just about ready, so sit back and relax. Line up to first pitch when we return. This game one of a 3-game set against the Cincinnati Reds. The Angels coming off the 4-2 road trip now find themselves at 56 and 74. 2 disappointing seasons between these two ball clubs. The Angels at 20.5 back in 5th place in the American League West. The Cincinnati Reds at 55 and 74. They are 27 games back in the National League Central. This is the first time the Reds have been to the Big A since 2002, just their second ever visit to Southern California. The meeting between Brian Price, the skipper of the Reds, and Mike Scioscia is complete. Matt Shoemaker's on the mound, and we will take a look at the Reds starting lineup. Game number 130 for them, and I mentioned they are 55 and 74. Billy Hamilton will lead things off. The speedy center fielder leads Major League Baseball with 53 stolen bases. He is the center fielder. Jose Peraza is the shortstop. Joey Votto in the 3-hole. He's at first base. Adam Duvall, the all-star this year, is the cleanup hitter and left field. Brandon Phillips, one-time Gold Glove Award winner, 4-time All-Stars at second base. Scott Schebler in right. Eugenio Suarez is the DH. Ivan De Jesus Jr. is the third baseman. And Ramon Cabrera, batting ninth, is the switch-hitting catcher. As they take on Matt Shoemaker, he's making his 26th start of the season, 8 and 13 with a 3.98 ERA.
And he has thrown the ball much better than that record indicates. An 8-13 ERA, under 4 now for Shoemaker. But my go-tos for Shoe to be successful today, inside out. Just throw that fastball in early on, but then get the hitters out consistently on the outside part of the plate. And beware of speed. They have a lot of speed, especially when you got Hamilton leading off. Try to keep him off the bases as much as possible tonight.
112 stolen bases for the Cincinnati Reds as we take a look at the defense for the Angels. Transaction made today. I know that's shocking news considering the Angels in 2016, but Rafael Ortega called back up. A.J. Octor sent down. Rafi gets a start in left field. Trout at center. Calhoun in right. The infield with Marte, Simmons, Coward, and Crone from third to first. Jeff Bandy behind the plate.
And you mentioned Ortega getting that first start since June 10th out in left field. Has been very good as far as arm strength. 6 outfield assists, 30 starts in left field for the Angels. We saw that arm strength early on, and it's an accurate throwing arm and good coverage in left field for Ortega.
Halos at home looking to turn things around. They are 29 and 33 here at the Big A this season. This is game number 131 for the Halos. Cincinnati out on the road. Well, they've struggled. 23 and 41, but it's a team that has played much better since the All-Star break. They've gone 23 and 17. Hamilton ready to go, as is Shoemaker. You've got Billy Hamilton at the plate. You've got corner infielders playing in, guarding against the bunt. Speedy center fielder comes in batting .261. He swings first pitch, lofts one out to shallow right center field, and there's the first base runner of the game. And the game will come to a halt now with Hamilton at first base and a lot of throws to first.
And a pretty good pitch there for Shoemaker today, but base hit by Hamilton. My Hyundai key for this game for the Angels to be successful against Cincinnati. Shoemaker going a little motley crew, a little home sweet home. He has been absolutely dominant since you go back to May 21st. An ERA 1.21 here at the Big A for Shoemaker. He'll be tested here early on, especially. And we mentioned about Hamilton and his speed, 53 stolen bases this season. Shoemaker does have a quick move, especially before he gets in that set position.
Jeff Bandy's caught 15 of 37 would-be base stealers. Hamilton already off to a big lead. And this is what you will see quite a bit of tonight.
And again, the best move that Shoemaker has to first is the one before he gets into the set position. But Hamilton hasn't established his lead yet. One thing Shoemaker has to do against Hamilton is hold the ball. You can see he's trying to move with Shoemaker. Hamilton is. The time his throw to the plate.
Hamilton, first big leaguer with at least 53 stolen bases in each of the 3 consecutive seasons. Currently at 53. First to do it since Jose Reyes did it between 05 and 08. First Reds player since Joe Morgan between 72 and 76, and did it for 5 straight seasons. Big lead at first. Takes off. Pitch is a strike to throw down by Bandy. A good one. Hamilton is in there. Make that 54 stolen bases. And the Reds with a man in scoring position.
Pretty quick throw for Bandy, but no chance with that jump that Hamilton had. Big lead. And then the quick slide into second. Try to be a real fast on the tag. Simmons to maybe knock him off the base as far as that head first slide. See if there's any disconnect between the base. He keeps that hand on there all the way through. The baseball out of the glove too for Simmons.
Peraza with an 0-1 count. Shortstop playing in his 42nd major league game this year. Hamilton takes off. He's cut on and fouled off.
And that's the one thing for Hamilton. I've watched a number of games for the Reds. That's the base he loves to steal. You better vary your look back to second base.
Well, Peraza helped out Shoemaker and also knocked Bandy on the swing. That pitch was up and in. Bandy was on the move clearly because Hamilton was trying to steal third. So Jet trying to walk it off. Adam Neville is going to come out, as is Mike Scioscia.
Discussion exactly where he got hit on the swing. See that right on the side of the face area on the follow through from Peraza.
No balls, 2 strikes. Hamilton at second. First pitch swinging a single. Just stole his 54th base.
And one thing on this one, the way the defense is set up, very difficult to put a pickoff on because how far away Simmons is from Hamilton, and same thing with Coward over at second.
Oh, 2. This one's down the left field line, hooking foul. The count remains at no balls, 2 strikes. Peraza hitting .300 for his 41 games at the major league level. Couple of home runs, 13 RBIs this year. Hit .281 at AAA Louisville. He has some speed as well, at least at the minor league level. 220 career stolen bases down there. Simmons trying to keep Hamilton close to the bag. Pickoff attempt. Couple of glances back. Hamilton takes off. The pitch is cut on a miss and throw down to third. Not in time, but a stolen base for Hamilton, his second of this inning. As the first out is recorded on the strikeout.
Seems like Mike Scioscia wants to have a conversation with the home plate umpire about that swing and the follow through on the swing if it's hindered the throw. And they look like they may be moving him back.
Yeah.
You can see right here on the swing. And then the bat hits Bandy, and they are going to put Hamilton back. And Price, manager for Cincinnati, is going to try to get an explanation on the follow through. Keeps that bat right there. Doesn't allow Bandy to get a perfect throw towards third base.
Actually makes contact with Jet on the arm.
Exactly. And that was a good decision for Scioscia to run right out there right away and gets Hamilton back to second.
For the time being. Jeff Nelson's the crew chief. He's the home plate umpire, and he's explaining it to Brian Price. Last day as at first, Corey Blazer at second, Stu Sherwater at third base, the umpiring crew for the series. So 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Joey Votto. Votto comes in batting .309 with 21 home runs, 76 RBIs. Now 32 years of age. The shift is on, so Simmons a little bit closer to the bag at second as he's playing on the second base side. Votto swings and lifts one out toward left center. Trout racing back, ball's carrying. Trout pulls up, that's gone. Votto goes the opposite way for a 2-run home run, and Cincinnati has a 2-0 lead. 22nd home run of the season for Votto, and he's now picked up 77th and 78th runs batted in.
And we talked about his power, showed his swing in our opening today with how outstanding as far as letting that baseball travel and hit it out the other way. It's a fastball down, stays back on it well, and looking to drive the ball to left center field. At 9 inches as far as that foot getting down and then through the baseball and travel enough and driving that extremely well the other way. Warm day like today, you're going to get some carry. Doesn't happen often where Votto's aggressive necessarily on first pitch, and he was on that one.
Adam Duvall, the left fielder, at the plate. Kind of tends to be a product too of worrying a little too much of the guy on the bases as opposed to taking care of business. I mean, it was a pretty good fastball right down the heart.
And more than likely, with a guy with that type of speed, you're more apt to throw more fastballs. Give your catcher an opportunity to throw out a guy like Hamilton with his speed. We've seen Shoemaker throw a lot of first pitch split finger fastballs.
Two-on count on Duvall, all-star this year. 245 with 29 home runs. 83 runs batted in. Came over to trade with the San Francisco Giants last year. Mike Leake deal. Shoemaker behind at 3-1. Are you not better off when you've got a guy that is as good as Billy Hamilton is on the bases? Maybe just go ahead and conceding that, keeping him honest as possible, but kind of focusing in even more so on the guy at the plate, especially when it's a guy like Votto. This one's flared out the left center.
Especially with a guy like Votto at the plate.
Third hit of the inning for Cincinnati.
Obviously, in my time was Ricky Henderson when he was on base, and you know you were focused on him, especially at first base. But when he gets a second, okay, then your mindset becomes, okay, I can, especially with it out, I can still get through this inning. I'm not focused on him as much because he is already in scoring position. A base hit will score him, but I have an out. I can make a quality pitch and maybe even get through the inning with no damage. But certainly you don't want to put yourself in a position where you pitch differently because of that speed, throw more fastballs, especially first pitch to a guy like Joey Votto with his power, especially the other way. He's got real good plate coverage.
You look at the numbers, or you look at this lineup, it's the one guy you don't want to have beat you. And first base was open, but it's a moot point. 2-run home run giving the Reds an early lead. Brandon Phillips, the second baseman, takes a strike. Phillips hitting .286. 9 home runs, 53 runs batted in. 1,833 career hits for Phillips. Now 35 years of age. Cute foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Three-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove Award winner. Gotta be the last remaining Expos draft pick still in baseball, right? Second round pick of the Expos in '99. This one's out to shallow center field. Trout playing shallow makes the catch, 2 down.
That's a good read off the bat by Trout to run that one down. It looked like trouble off the bat.
Duvall ends up back at first base.
See that quick jump he got coming in on that baseball to cut the angle off to be able to catch that sinking line drive for Phillips. Big play there for Trout and the Angels here early on, especially the way they've been swinging the bats here in the first. Cincinnati.
So 2 outs and a man on. Here's Scott Schebler, the right fielder. Good off-speed pitch, no 1 count.
Shoemaker has never faced Cincinnati before. 3-3 in his career. ERA just over 3 in interleague play.
First meeting between these two teams since they locked horns on opening day of 2013, the first ever interleague game on opening day.
Remember how nice and warm that was that day?
Toasty, 13-inning game. Halos with a W. Schebler committing to his swing is 0-2 now.
There's that split finger fastball. An excellent one from Shoemaker.
Schebler making the opening day roster for Cincinnati. Struggled and set down on May the 8th. Good numbers at AAA. He and Peraza coming over from the Dodgers, part of the 3-team deal with the White Sox this offseason. Todd Frazier, Trace Thompson deal, to name a few. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, only 17 pitches thrown so far in this inning for Shoemaker, but feels like a lot more, especially all those throws to the bases and step-offs.
Seems like 37.
Yeah, 13 strikes of the 17 pitches.
Two singles and a home run. 1-2. Down goes Schebler. Shoemaker picks up a couple of strikeouts, but the Angels will head to the bottom of the first, down 2-0. Giving the Reds the early lead as we check out Mike Scissor's lineup for the Angels in their 131st game of this season. And we'll have Cole Calhoun leading things off in right field. Mike Trout at center. Albert Pujols at DH. C.J. Cron, the cleanup hitter, at first. Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop. Jeffrey Marte at third. Rafael Ortega in left. Jeff Bandy behind the plate. Caleb Coward making his 3rd consecutive start at second. He will bat 9th as they take on the 27-year-old right-hander native of Springfield, Oregon. And a familiar face, Dan Straley, on the mound for the Reds.
Yeah, the Angels have had success against a 1-3 as ERA 6.69. My go-tos to be successful against Straley. Those compact swings that work favorable counts.
Cole swinging first pitch, pulls one down the line, and that is a fair ball. He's going to try to go to second. Up and firing is Schebler. The throw is cut off, and Cole with a leadoff double.
Talk about those compact swings, a quick compact swing against Australia there from Cole, picking up his 25th double, now in scoring position right away for Mike Trout. His foot down, cleared his hips. Swing path that drives out into the right field corner there to get a double right away in scoring position.
Straley's pitching in his 28th game, making his 25th start. He's pitched really well for the Cincinnati Reds, especially of late. 10-6 with a 3.57 ERA. This is his 8th career start against the Angels, and a former Athletic. First one to Trout is down low. Mike hitting .312, 24 home runs, 82 RBIs. Had a 1-for-4 game yesterday as the Angels had 11 hits against the Tigers and a 5-0 win. Two balls, no strikes.
When you look at that on-base percentage for Mike Trout at .431, which is tops in the American League. Joey Votto, .432, tops in the National League. The top two as far as on-base percentage in this game here tonight.
Votto, since being called up to the big leagues for the first time, a .424 on-base percentage in his career. That's tops in Major League Baseball in that time frame. 2-0. Trout. Skies went out to center. Hamilton drifting back. He's at the track, at the wall, gone! Big fly for Mike Trout. And it ties the score at 2.
Boy, what a swing for Trout. Got himself, we talk about favorable counts, got himself into one. And against Strelly, who had already given up 20 home runs this season. And it's our Carl's Cam replay. Tried to run that fastball in, didn't get it in quite enough. And in center field, that high leg kick and the foot down, bringing those hands through the baseball. And you talk about short, compact swing. Trout, dead center field. Home run number 25, 84 RBI on the season for Trout. Boy, our opening had them both in there as far as their swings. You can see why. Such pretty swings and great contact by both Votto and Trout here in the first inning alone.
Well, because of the opening and because both Votto and Trout have obliged us with home runs, we're going to turn things over to Terry Smith for the rest of the way. We're taking it on home, folks.
We did our part.
Our job here is done. And Albert skies one to deep left field. Move over Frank Robinson. Albert Pujols has gone big fly. Number 586, tying him with Frank Robinson for 9th all time.
By the way, his 47th career home run against Cincinnati for Albert Pujols, the machine, tying one of the all-time greats, Frank Robinson, on the all-time home run list. Wow, what a shot by Albert, getting high fives going into that dugout. What a swing.
Well, now Trout had come into the game 7 for 17 against Straley. Albert 6 for 16, and you can add to that. And Crone shoots one out to right center field. Hamilton can't get there with his speed. It one hops the fence. CJ turns on the Jets. He's in at second with a double. So that's 4 straight extra base hits to start the bottom of the first.
And going back to Albert Pujols' home run in which he tied Frank Robinson, is our top tier play. Brought to you by Arco. Fastball upstairs, how quickly he brought his hands up. That pitch was above the belt. It's a barrel of the bat and crushes it out. Congratulations to Albert Pujols. Way out to left field for the machine. Tying Frank Robinson. I mean, that's one of the great names in the game. MVP of the American League and the National League. Frank Robinson, will now tied on the all-time home run list with Albert Pujols.
Andrelton Simmons, a .275 batting average, 16 doubles, a triple, a home run, 28 RBIs. Nobody out, 3-2 Halos here in the bottom of the first. Breaking pitch, and that is lined in glove by Votto. Nice play by the Reds first baseman for the first out.
That was destined for another double. That's a good swing too from Simmons. Not only was he trying to hit the ball hard the other way to try to advance the runner, but he was in line to get up at least a single, if not a double, with that swing. Votto, solid defender at first, makes a nice play on that line drive from Simmons.
Albert not only ties Frank Robinson, by the way, picks up his 1800th career run batted in. He's now 12 shy of tying Frank Robinson for 20th all time. So the milestones continue to pile up for Albert. Jeffrey Marte takes a breaking ball for a strike. Marte back at third base, hitting .243, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs. Two-run home run in yesterday's 5-0 win. Off speed is cut on and missed. No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, what a first inning already here tonight. Wow, some distance. Trout, dead center field. Albert way out to left.
Oh, 2.
It's amazing how many home runs Trout and Pujols really think of, especially Mike Trout, what he's done as far as his home run totals in the first inning.
Little dribbler toward third base. Okay, Jesus can't come up with it. Crone is tagged out. That's an alert play by the shortstop Peraza to stay behind De Jesus. Mike Scioscia wants an explanation here on the call by Stu Sherwater. Call stands. It'll be 2 outs. Looks like Scioscia's going to have the guys take a look at it.
And C.J. Crone is still standing at that base right now. I was wondering if the tag was applied.
I guess Scioscia's probably asking, is he called out on a tag or was he out of the baseline? Would be my understanding of why he came out.
Well, good backup though. Yeah, it looked like he tagged him.
Yeah, the helmet and the shoulder looked like.
And the thing that probably threw off Mike Scioscia and the dugout is the fact that he went back to Peraza to apply a tag again after Crone slid by the base.
Yeah, without that definitive view showing the space between the glove and the body, tough call to overturn.
Nice play by Peraza to be there.
Agreed. Marte reaches on the fielder's choice. Here's Ortega back in the big leagues. Rafi played in 36 major league games this year, 238, 5 doubles, a home run, 9 RBIs. 1 ball with strike. Ortega now 25 years of age, native of Venezuela. 317 at AAA Salt Lake. 18 doubles, 7 triples, 4 home runs, and 31 RBIs. That's par for the course for him. He's always put up pretty good numbers at the minor league level. A.J. Octor sent out. The Angels making an announcement now that the Angels have traded Daniel Nava to the Kansas City Royals for a player to be named later. It was a long struggle for Daniel this year at the major league level.
Yeah, a lot of promise we saw in spring training, but just couldn't stay healthy the whole season.
And when in the lineup, just didn't produce. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Marte over at first. That's a called strike 3, and this first inning is in the books, but the Angels score 3 times. Trout and Pujols going back to back.
Well, a lot of fun to see these 2 swings right here. Trout getting that foot down, brings his hands in to dead center field. And then Albert Pujols followed him up with a home run. Also, high fastball above the belt, out tying Frank Robinson on the all-time list.
in the second inning. That was a lovely first. Two-run home run for Vaughn on the top of the inning. The Angels going back-to-back with Trout and Pujols. Shoemaker takes the lead here in the second, and he will face the bottom third of the order: Suarez, De Jesus, and Cabrera. Shoemaker threw 18 pitches in the first. Straley threw 19. First pitch fastball for a strike. Eugenio Suarez, the DH. 25-year-old native of Venezuela, hitting .250. 19 home runs and 59 runs batted in. Infielder by trade, but National League team playing in the American League ballpark. He gets the nod tonight. That DH spot.
Pretty good power. 40 extra base hits for him this season.
It's a 1-2 count. No Zach Cozart for the Reds. Missed the last 8 starts. That left Achilles tendon swelling. And when you're at this stage of the season, both of these teams, you're the guy that's the starting shortstop. There's no reason for you to come back until you are legitimately 100% healthy, because then you risk going into the offseason trouble, and you've been risking the following season.
And then it makes even more difficult decisions for your front office as you try to retool for 2017.
Cozart's name was brought up during the trade deadline. Seattle had an interest. One out, nobody on, and Ivan De Jesus Jr. now at the plate, third baseman. Now 29 years of age. Looks just like his dad. Even the stance, just like his dad.
That a very solid major leaguer for a lot of years.
Yeah. Somewhere in my house I have an Ivan De Jesus glove that he gave me as a child when I was hanging around Wrigley Field. My old man's first job after playing was coaching with the Cubs. De Jesus was the shortstop at that time before getting traded. One of the nicest guys. The anti-Dave Kingman. Some nightmares in Kong. Foul tipped into the mid. Down goes De Jesus. 2 outs, third strikeout for Shoe. I get your red on, host a business function, or celebrate a special occasion in your own private suite at the Big A. Suite rentals offer all-inclusive food and beverage packages. Just go to angels.com for more info. 2 quick outs for Matt Shoemaker.
So Dave Kingman was a good friend of yours?
Well,
he hit a grand slam against me, so
he was a quiet, surly fella.
Yeah.
So this would have been that was 6th grade, 7th grade at the time, 78, 79. It's a big dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He did a home run a long, long way.
Yeah. Two balls, no strikes.
Pretty good spot there for Shoemaker. 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Great out to the number 9 hitter.
A quick turnaround on that pitching rubber just to refocus for Shoemaker, knowing that it's an important inning to put up a 0 after your offense responded after you gave up 2 with a 3 spot.
3-1. Dave Kingman, by the way, an angel for like a second. 10 games in 1977.
Yeah, I gave up that grand slam right away. I didn't want to have Jim Palmer have to worry about me tying his record for never giving up a grand slam during a career.
This one's ripped down the line, and that's a fair ball headed toward the corner. Cabrera racing to second. He's going to get there, and he'll stop right there. It's a 2-out double. That's his 8th of the season.
Well, there's been some extra base hits in this game already. That's 6 of them.
Center fielder, number 6, Billy Hamilton.
4 for the Angels, 2 now for Cincinnati. Home of the fastball and a good fastball count. And Cabrera was in position to try to drive that with the inner half of the plate. What happens when you fall behind in the count? Shoemaker was forced to throw a fastball in that count.
Now you got to deal with Billy Hamilton. First pitch of the game, he singled, stole second, and scored a Nevada home run. Grounds this one toward short. This is going to be a tough play. Got it.
What an arm.
Yes, they did. Laz Diaz rings him up.
That was a legit throw from Simmons.
And I don't think we're going to get much of an argument from the Cincinnati Reds. Although they're still looking in. Halos up 3-2. In the bottom of the second inning. 8-9-1 coming up. Bandy, Coward, and Calhoun to face Dan Straley. Gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, all 4 extra base hits, and it was all. Matter of fact, the first 4 batters that he faced, and almost gave up a 5th. Simmons shooting one toward first base, and it was gloved by Votto. Jeff Bandy, a .268 average with 8 home runs and 23 RBIs. Jed last night or yesterday afternoon in Detroit went 0 for 3. Straley from the Oakland A's school of pitching. Don't waste any time on the mound. Get it and go. Bandy. Skies went out to shallow right. Here comes Schebler. 1 down.
A pretty good look at this play by Hamilton Simmons to finish off this thing, knowing he doesn't have a whole lot of time to get rid of that baseball, and a lot on that throw to barely get Hamilton at first base. The backhand and quickly gets rid of it. 90+ across the diamond to be able to get Hamilton. You know, Mike Socha said the other day about arm strength. He says Hamilton Simmons, only one even close to as far as the guy that he's seen throw across the diamond at that shortstop position, Sean Dunston, but he said he took a little bit longer to get rid of that baseball. Dunston had a great throwing arm. And Simmons not only strong but quick on the throw.
One-time Rookie of the Year, Chicago Cubs. Coward rolling and foul, leaving to count at a ball and a strike. Caleb, third consecutive start at second base, hitting .281 with a home run and 3 RBIs. One and two. Australia, 24th round pick by the Oakland A's in 2009. It sails up and away to even a count of 2-2. Got picked up as a waiver claim from the Padres. He was back on April the 1st. Pretty good waiver claim. You're 10-6 with 3.57.
Especially what he has done of late.
He's got 151 in the third innings this year. This one's pulled foul.
As you can see, a very solid changeup. He'll throw. Fastball is going to be not overpowering, but he spots it well. 88 to 92. Slider, curveball, changeup. Very good changeup. In his last 8 starts, 6-0 with an ERA under 2. Especially when you pitch in that ballpark in Cincinnati. A very good hitter's yard.
He's now matched his career high in innings pitched that he set back in 2013 as Caleb goes down swinging for the second out.
Right fielder, number 56.
Top of the order now, Cole Calhoun. He opened the bottom of the first with a double. 25th of the year. Scored on the Trout home run. Slow breaking ball for a strike. A busy first inning. 2 for the Reds, 3 for the Angels. That's the score here in the bottom of the second. Ball and a strike. Both teams with 4 hits. One. 1-2.
All of a sudden, Straley throwing a lot of changeups and good ones. Talk about percentage of pitches he has thrown this year. 18%. His pitches are changeups. 25% slider. A few curveball percentage and then 52% fastballs. I wonder if that fastball was just for show to come back to another changeup.
Ground ball to first. Votto with a diving stop. Straley covering. And the Reds have themselves a 1-2-3 second. We'll head to the third. 3-2 Angels. in the third. Both starting pitchers with fairly economical second innings. And here the third inning, Shoemaker to face Peraza, Votto, and Duvall. That's 2, 3, and 4 for Cincinnati. Peraza, strikeout victim of the first one of 3 punch-outs for Shoemaker.
Much better at home, I should say, than on the road this year for Peraza. At home, 377 batting average.
On a corner, 3-1.
A similar count to Cabrera last inning, fell behind 3-0 to 3-1 before throwing a fastball and a base hit against him.
Ground ball up the middle, and that's going to sneak through for a seeing eye single. Leadoff man is on board for Joey Votto.
Well, we always talk about how well Joey Votto swings the bat, but he's played 2 really good plays defensively, and here another one showing good range on the dive, gets up quickly, a perfect feed over the straightaway to be able to get Cole Calhoun at first base. The range, he's caught a line drive at him earlier, good range there. That's going to be a base hit, second hit of the game for Cole. Instead ends up being a 3-1 putout.
Votto didn't waste any time in his last at bat. Jumped on that first pitch fastball and shot it over the wall in left center. His 22nd home run of the year. Now with 78 runs batted in. Stolen bases for Peraza. We mentioned 220 career minor league stolen bases, so he likes to run.
When you think about the times to the plate for Shoemaker, not real fast. He's got a pretty good pickoff move. He's already allowed this season 12 stolen bases, 15 attempts.
One ball, no strikes on Joey Votto. Four-time All-Star, the MVP of the National League in 2010. Quick throw to first, and Peraza got hit maybe in the face. Crone seems to have gotten hit as well.
A quick move, and it seemed like either one was in position to make that play.
Yeah, it looked like it hit Peraza. He shot up and hit Crone in the face. Side there.
And it's on the side of the face as he was diving back into the base. Hopefully he's okay, because that got him pretty square. Hopefully Peraza is going to be okay, because that was a quick throw over there from Shoemaker.
Another look at the quick pickoff.
It did seem like CJ was ready for that. And that's the best move that Shoemaker has, that quick move over there. So as a first baseman, you got to be ready. He doesn't a lot of times even get into the set position before he throws over. See, it hit right on the jaw area, and then deflect it back and hit CJ Cron in the mouth. Also.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as a pitcher addresses the rubber, I mean, as a first baseman, you've got to be anticipating a throw at any point. They caught him off guard, trying to get it after it was already halfway there.
Especially from that short distance from the pitching mound to first base.
Down on the side there, the ear area is what he was touching. Looks like it's awfully red, so they are going to take him out. Wow, look at that.
Wow.
Pitch running at first base for the Reds, number 2,
Zach Kozart's going to come out and pinch run. So apparently the Achilles is feeling better.
Well, you just hope that Peraza is okay. That got him square.
One ball, no strikes on Votto. Takes down and in. Short lead for Kozart. Votto takes a strike, 2-1. Guy that has always been known for his on-base percentage prowess. Good two-seam fastball.
And ran back in there and gets the call inside part of the plate.
Two, a chopper back to the mound. To Simmons for one. The relay back to first, a double play. 2 down.
And that was textbook by Shoemaker, Simmons, and then back across the diamond to CJ Cron. Under control, knowing he had Votto out in front of the split finger fastball. Shoemaker gathers himself a firm throw right at Simmons at the base. Complete a 1-6-3 double play. Well done.
First one in for a strike on Duval. He had a single in the first inning, so he's 1 for 1. '27 years of age, 11th round pick, the San Francisco Giants in 2010. As he Fouls this one back.
Fifth 0-2 count. The game for Shoemaker.
No balls, 2 strikes. The 0-2. Down goes Duval. 4th strikeout of the game for Shoemaker, and we will head to the bottom of the 3rd with the Angels up 3-2.
In the bottom of the 3rd. Let's go back to Mike Trout's at-bat back in the 1st inning. See, we talked about it earlier, how he gets that leg kick down, and it's a foot high, and then gets it down, brings his hands inside the baseball. He's able to get that body going forward, load up on the back leg, but still bring his hands inside the baseball to get the barrel of the bat on that one, hit it out to center field. Not an easy pitch to do so at 90 miles an hour and running in on Trout. He hits it out to center field.
Zach Cozart stays in the game at shortstop as Trout pulls the first one down the left field line. That is a fair ball. Racing around first, he will end up at 2nd. It's a leadoff double for Trout. That's his 28th double of the season.
And now it's time for In the Driver's Seat, brought to you by Kia with Albert Pujols coming to the plate. We talk about all those special numbers. 586 tied for 9th all-time. RBI 1,800, exactly 21st. Doubles at 598, 16th all-time. And 1,200 extra base hits. 7th all-time for the machine, Albert Pujols.
Albert takes down and away.
Well, that home run, by the way, the home run in the 1st inning for Albert is 132nd 1st inning home run. Only Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds have done it more than Albert Pujols in Major League history in the 1st inning as far as home runs. That's where Albert is on the all-time home run list, tied now with Frank Robinson, 9th all-time with 586. Only fitting, he tied a member of the Cincinnati Reds at one point for Frank Robinson, won an MVP for Cincinnati.
Frank now 80 years of age, still doing work with Major League Baseball. An MVP season for the Reds back at 61. Albert takes the breaking ball away. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And the 8th time that Albert Pujols and Mike Trout have gone back-to-back in the game, a franchise record. His back-to-back home runs.
He pulls this one down the left field line, and that one is off the base of the wall. Trout will score. Albert will stop at first. It's an RBI single. And it's a 4-2 Halo lead.
Played very well by the ball off the wall there in the corner. As Albert was looking for career number 599 as far as doubles. Thought about that, getting out of the ballpark once again. Went down and got that pitch, an all-speed pitch. Hooks it down the line. That short wall almost got it out. Boy, Trout Pujols on a roll here tonight. We talked about it on the pregame show with Jose Mota and Patrick O'Neill about what Albert had said with Tony La Russa early in his career. Treat every bat.
Crone drives one high and deep to left. This is a no-doubter. Big fly for C.J. Crone. Halos extend their lead to 6-2.
Wow. C.J. Crone. He's 8 for 24 on the road trip with 3 RBI. All-speed pitch, brings his hands in. And this baseball, if you want to see how far a baseball can go, this ball went a ton. C.J. Crone got that all-speed pitch out in front. And look where this baseball landed. That is incredible.
That's far, right?
Oh. Hey, if you're going to give up a home run,
make it majestic.
Yeah, yes. That is way out there.
Top 4 hitters for the Angels through the third inning and 6 extra base hits. Simmons fouls it off. Andleton 0 for 1 as he lined out to Votto in the first.
Yeah, he looked like he was destined for an extra base hit, but Votto made an excellent play on that.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Simmons. 1 down.
By the way, Mike Trout now with 100 runs scored again. 2 runs scored tonight, coming into the game with 98, now at 100.
Well, that home run that he hit in the first inning, giving him his 25th of the year, makes him one of only 3 Major League players to hit 25 or more home runs in each of his first 5 seasons, joining Eddie Matthews and Frank Robinson, 2 Hall of Famers.
It's been a pretty fun game so far as some offensive numbers. Australia with great numbers pitching in the National League, back to the American League. He's really struggled against the Angels in his career. 1-3 with a 6.69 ERA for Australia against the Angels. We talked about the 4 extra base hits to start the game for the Angels. That's the first time they've ever done that in their history. 4 extra base hits to start a game.
Marte for 1, reach on the fielder's choice. Takes low. Movement now in the Reds bullpen. And that is driven out to left field. And this one is gone into the bullpen. Jeffrey Marte on a line. Wasn't sure if it was going to clear the fence. His 11th of the season, and the Angels make it 7-2.
Jeffrey Marte joined the party as far as the home run ball. 4th home run of the game for the Angels. His 11th home run of the season for Marte. Another mistake right out over the plate. Marte made him pay for it. Quickly got out into the bullpen.
Back-to-back home runs for Marte as far as games are concerned. Mac Jenkins, the pitching coach, out to pay a visit. Alfredo Simon getting ready.
One of those difficult conversations as a pitching coach going out to a pitcher when you've seen some of the swings against you and you've been on such a roll. We talked about what he has done in his last 8 starts. 6-0 with an ERA under 2.
Ortega bounces one foul. Rafael struck out looking to end the first inning, so he's 0 for 1. It's the second time in Straley's career he's given up 4 home runs in a game. The other to the Angels, August 8th, 2012, as a member of the Oakland Athletics.
So when he was looking forward to this start, he goes, I don't think I've had a whole lot of success against these guys.
Yeah. Lays off.
And trust me, as a pitcher, starting pitcher, you know exactly what club you've had success and what club you have struggled against.
Torrey Hunter, Mark Trumbo, Kendrys Morales hit 2. Chris Iannetta chipped 1 in as well.
He was with 4 home runs tonight. Has tied his season high. Last time was back on July 2nd in Boston. And that's a game they scored 21 runs.
Bottom of the third, 7-2 Halos. Ground ball over to the third baseman. De Jesus throws out Ortega, 2 down. Bring up Jet Bandy. Bandy in a fly ball to right field. Last inning. 0 for 1. Ball and a strike. It's a slow breaking ball. AJ Griffin breaking ball right there.
Trying something different. Throw off the timing of the hitters. Very comfortable at the plate.
3 balls and a strike. .26 pitches thrown by Straley here in the third. Full count.
Seven earned runs already.
And a walk. That's the first free pass that he has issued. It might be all for Straley. Price is coming out, and sure enough, it is. A rough night for Dan Straley. He will depart here with 2 outs and a man at first, having given up 7 runs and 4 home runs tonight. Have ourselves a pitching change in the third. Halos leading at 7-2. Lasting just 2 2/3 innings, his shortest outing since June 27th when he faced the Cubs and gave up 7 runs in 3 2/3 as he gives way to Alfredo Simon, the big right-hander, now 35 years of age, been around a while. So in and out, who's in, who's out. This will be his 14th game. He has 11 starts under his belt, 2 7 with a 9.45 earned run average.
Fastball is 90-95. Cut fastball, curveball, split finger fastball, which he throws quite a bit of.
Alfredo just coming off the disabled list. Strained right trap. Bandy at first. Caleb Coward lines one out toward left center field. Hamilton with that closing speed tracks it down for the 3rd out. The Angels strike for 4 more here in the 3rd. Couple more home runs. C.J. Cron and Jeffrey Marte extending the Angels lead to 7-2. Fourth inning, long ball flying so far tonight. 4 home runs for the Angels for the first 3 innings. Jeffrey Marte getting 1, the 2nd consecutive game. C.J. Cron a majestic drive to left. And here the 4th, Matt Shoemaker dealing with Phillips, Schebler, and Suarez. Matt Shoemaker wondering what have you done with this offense now that he's gotten run support in back-to-back games. What in the world? What have you done to this Angels offense?
This took some time.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Good that they showed up in late August for Shoe. Brandon Phillips fly ball center field to first. He's 0 for 1. Chopper to short. 1 down. 16 MMA champions from around the world compete for a chance to challenge the pound for pound best fighter in the UFC, Gooby. Do you know who that is? Demetrius Johnson. The Ultimate Fighter, Team Benavides versus Team Cejudo. Tournament of Champions starts Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Only
Look
on
at you.
FS1.
You're getting on your feet. You can do that one. Wow. You're ready. I was going to the defense mode. I was going a little rope-a-dope on you.
I was going to start kidney punching you. Schebler fouls it back. 0-1 count. Man, I can't wait to do that read tomorrow.
Oh, I'm pumped up already.
Welcome to my dojo. Schebler struck out there the first. One of 4 strikeouts for Shoemaker tonight. Upstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's had success going 0-2, that high fastball in this game, but that time did not get the swing and miss.
Down goes Schebler. Bandy will have to throw down the first to complete the strikeout. 2 down.
Talk about different portions of the strike zone. That high fastball, and then followed up with a nasty split finger fastball from Shoemaker. You can see the grip on that pitch. Great location. Down. Talk about change in eye level. High fastball to split finger fastball. 5 strikeouts in the game for Shoe. 3 2/3. No walks. Now 139 strikeouts on the season with 30 walks for Shoemaker.
He's looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. Eugenio Suarez, the DH, grounded out to Marte, leading off the seconds. He's 0 for 1. Hit numbers for Suarez since the All-Star break. You've seen that from the team, the Reds, that is. Mentioned their 23-17 mark since the break. The month of August as a team, they've hit 281, 24 home runs. The previous high had been in July when they hit 258. 2-0. This was a little looper on the right side. Crone's got it, and a 1-2-3 4th inning. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Halos on top, 7-2.
Greater coverage of baseball as the Red Sox try to keep pace with Toronto. Victory today. Mookie Betts, his 30th home run of the season. Age 23. This is the 3rd player in Red Sox history with 30 or more home runs before age 24. And off to Fenway Park, Mookie Betts brings his hands inside the baseball, and this baseball is absolutely tattooed at Fenway Park.
He mookied all over that.
Oh my. Oh me, oh my.
Cole Calhoun to lead things off here at the bottom of the 4th. Alfredo Simon, who finished off the 3rd inning.
I saw that little Clippers read earlier today, so I had to get oh me, oh my in there. Yes.
Buckle your seatbelts.
Yes, indeed.
Calhoun 1 for 2 with a double in the 1st inning and a run scored. He grounded down in the 2nd. Gets safely in 6 straight now. These guys, this one foul. It's a count of the ball and a strike. Alfredo Simon, mentioned 35 years of age. He's coming off of the disabled list. Pitched with the Orioles, the Reds, the Tigers last year, 31 starts, and then back to Cincinnati this year. re-signing as a free agent. In between, that's at the major league level. In between, he was originally a Philly, a Ranger, a Philly again, a Dodger. Kind of been all over the map. Big cat. 6'6", 265. Like he was the one that was making J.C. Ramirez look rather small behind the batting cage today during BP.
Yeah, we were watching that. J.C. Ramirez, a big guy himself. Former teammates.
Cole pulls one out to right field. There she goes. Home run number 5 for the Halos. 8-2. Another extra base hit.
Incredible swing once again for Cole Calhoun. He's hit the ball well all 3 times tonight. So Ivano robbed him of a single back in the second. Yana gets this off-speed pitch. Foot down. Boy, he got a lot behind that swing. Able to get the barrel of the bat. We're talking about getting that lower part of your body for leverage to drive it out. That's exactly what Cole did in and out of the ballpark. Home run number 13 for Cole Calhoun.
First at home since June 25th. And here's Trout. Trout with a double and a home run. First 4 Angel hitters, 8 for 9. With 4 home runs. And 7 of those 8 hits, extra base hits.
And 6 runs scored. Top 3.
This one's rolled over to third base. Jesus has it. 1 down. Albert coming to the plate. He's 2 for 2, and this is what he did back in the first.
The high pitch. And Albert tying Frank Robinson for 9th all-time home run list. 586 for Albert Pujols with that swing. .47 career home runs against Cincinnati, batting average just under .350 for his career. That's over 176th game played by Albert against Cincinnati.
Home run, a single, 2 RBIs. 103 on the season as far as runs batted in. Fouls it off. And oh, by the way, now 14 shy of getting to the magical number 600. It's August 29th.
Put it in perspective, he had 2 home runs, Rob. 1 here at home and then 1 on the road trip. He's on a roll right now.
Breaking ball, and he got him. Fooled him with the off-speed pitch. 2 down.
Part of the play where he can usually stay back and drive it at 77 miles an hour. A big slow curveball gets the swing miss. Boy, C.J. Cron, his last at bat. You talk about it, a majestic long home run. Way out for C.J. Cron. Home run number 12 of the season.
And Cron lifts one out toward left center field. Hamilton racing over onto the track, makes the catch in front of the wall. And that was pretty to watch, man. Those strides from center field. Let's talk about closing speed.
Yes. Cole went down and got that one. Home run number 13. Fans are liking it tonight.
Baseball on Fox Sports West is brought to you by Subaru, making the world a better place. That's why we donate to causes we care about. By Bank of America, life's better when we're connected. And by El Pollo Loco, new chicken tenders. Try them today at El Pollo Loco. Top of the fifth, Halos up 8-2, 5 total home runs hit by the Angels. 8-9-1 for the Reds. De Jesus, Cabrera, and Hamilton. De Jesus 0 for 1 with a strikeout.
One thing, if you're Shoemaker, just continue to throw the ball the way you have for this long stretch of time, not worry or even look up the scoreboard with the lead at this point.
2 balls, 1 strike. Holy moth.
Mothra.
The bat. Simmons has it. 1 down.
Pitcher number 37, Cabrera.
That was huge, that moth.
Word. It's like a hummingbird.
Yes.
What in the world? Can we get that on Exmo?
That's the opening tomorrow.
Would surprise me. It's always a possibility.
Yes.
Ramon Cabrera, the catcher, doubled into the right field corner in his first at bat, his 8th double of the year. Two and 1. Cabrera playing his 43rd game. Native of Venezuela, switch hitter. 234 average coming to play today.
In that upper part of the strike zone, we talked about the need to be inside out, establish in, and then go down and away. So if he's able to throw the split finger fastball after that fastball up and in.
This one's pulled foul. Ramon, the son of a one-time big leaguer, briefly big leaguer, but a legend in Venezuela, Alex Cabrera. Talk about a big guy, hit a lot of home runs in the minor leagues and winter ball. Under the 31 games with the Diamondbacks in 2000. This one hit towards second, and Cowart, full indecision there. Ball ate him up and will go to right field. See how they rule that.
And get acclimated to that position at second, what to do as far as coming in on the baseball, playing back. Off the end of the bat. One hopper gets by the glove of Cowart at second.
Calling that a base hit. So man on with 1 out. Billy Hamilton at the plate. By the way, Alex Cabrera with the route of successful fielder going to Japan, had a couple of 50 homer seasons in Japan. Almost had it 3 in a row. 55 his career high, playing for Cebu in 2002.
It's a lot of home runs.
Yeah, and I just remember he was always playing in winter ball in Venezuela because I did the Caribbean World Series for a couple of years. Legend down there. That one foul tipped into the mitt. No balls, 2 strikes. Hamilton with a single and a ground out. He's 1 for 2.
Seventh time in the game where Shoemaker's been ahead of the count against hitters for Cincinnati. 0-2 counts.
Slap foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Cabrera over at first. Called strike 3. Down goes Hamilton. 2 down.
That's that fastball up and in at 93 from Shoemaker.
Shortstop, number 2, Zach.
Good location is this, barely touching that inside part of the plate. Framed very well by Bandy.
Zach Cozart up for his first plate appearance. Came in as a pinch runner for Jose Peraza, who had singled to start the 3rd. Then on a errant pickoff throw, got hit ear area. Was taken out of the game, so Cozart came in and pitch ran for him, stays in. 265 average, 16 home runs, 47 runs batted in for Cozart. This is pulled over to 3rd. Marte will go the short way, and they force out Cabrera at 2nd. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th. Angels up 8-2. The 5th inning. Want to remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Los Angeles Angels and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP. Simmons, Marte, and Ortega. Facing Alfredo Simon, who's worked an inning in a third so far. Angelton is 0 for 2, a line out and a strikeout. This one towards second base, got it off the end of the bat. Phillips Devano for round number 1.
Number 19,
Marte homering in the third, a line shot over the fence in left field. Second straight game, his 11th of the year. Angels with 5 home runs tonight. 2 shy of their team record. That was at 7 in a game. On June 4th, 2003 against the Montreal Expos. That was in Puerto Rico. Two balls, no strikes. It was an 11-2 win for the Angels in that one. Garrett Anderson had 3 home runs in that game as Marte swings through the changeup. 2-1. Brad Fulmer, Troy Gloss, Jeff Devanett had 2. Back up the middle, Marte with a single. Second hit of the night. Brings up Rafael Ortega. Hey, get your red on during Star Wars night on Friday, September the 9th at 7:05. Join us as the Angels take on the Rangers and receive a Stormtrooper Rally Monkey while supplies last. Go to Angels.com to get your tickets.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Give you $1 if you could tell me the winning pitcher in that game in Puerto Rico without the guys in the truck telling you. You don't know it. Jared Washburn. Yeah, forget it.
What?
Don't even start.
You were waiting. Wash.
You were waiting for the truck to feed you the line.
I was going to say Wash.
Yeah. Weren't you though?
Yes.
Save it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ortega 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out.
Pride of Wisconsin.
Two-one count. Two-two. Nick Buss had been playing a lot of left field. The Angels decided to bring Ortega up.
My coach was talking about that today. This is the hope at some point to give an outfielder, one of the outfielders, a chance to get a little bit of a rest at some point. A lot of games, a lot of innings.
Bouncer toward first. Votto goes to second for 1. Relay back, not a time. Ortega gets down the line too quickly. 2 down.
You know what? Just watching Votto play first base, he is very, very good, very athletic. Gold Glove back in 2011 has made 3 really good plays here tonight. Danny's been very solid. 8 home runs this season, 4 here in the month of August.
0 for 1 as he skies one on the third base side. It's going to land in the seats. Jet a fly ball to right in the second inning, walked in the third. One walk issued in this game. That was the last batter that Dan Straley faced. Straley getting knocked out in the third, lasting 2 2/3. 8 hits, 4 of which were home runs, 3 strikeouts, a walk, 7 runs all earned.
Think about it, there was impressive swings against a pitcher that's been very good for over an 8-game stretch. 6-0, 1.98 ERA for Straley.
Bad, he lifts one down the left field line into foul territory. And did he get it? He did. Nice play. Terrific play by Zach Cozart for the third out.
Well, he went a long way to run this one down right by the tarp and leaning over and able to hold on to that baseball. Solid play by Coward. Cincinnati 8-2 here in the top of the 6th. Let's go back to the at-bat for Joey Votto in the first inning. 2-run home run. We talked about the stride he has, the stance, a little bit lower as far as getting his foot down, but the hands in very similar position what we showed in the opening. Get this one out in front and driving that out to left center field. So short and quick through the baseball, little shorter stride and leg kick. And at bat for Votto back in the first against Shoemaker for a 2-run home run.
He's going to lead things off here in the 6th inning. Votto, Duvall, and Phillips for the Reds. One for 2. Home run, a 2-run shot in the first inning. Grounded into a 1-6-3 double play in the third. Little dribbler foul, had him out in front.
Shoemaker, especially with his split finger fastball and or slider. Votto's been very good on low pitches this season. .328 batting average, 4th best in the majors on low pitches. Again, he has great plate coverage. He can drive the ball the other way very well, like we saw back in the first inning against Shoe.
One down low.
Also a very patient hitter, though. Not a lot of patience in that first inning, swinging right away. Again, Shoe hit that one out to left center field.
Ground ball into the shift. Coward out on the grass. One down. So what I like what I've seen from Caleb Coward, not only offensively because he's had some terrific at-bats, making the transition. I know he played some second base down at AAA this year, not a whole lot, but looks smooth over, looks comfortable, realizing, hey, I got to do whatever it takes to get to the big leagues and try to find a place to stick.
Exact. You know, you talk about that, what he did, that last thing on the ground ball, made the adjustment this time, knew he had some time, especially with that arm he has. Can wait back on a baseball.
Ground ball toward third, and it goes foul.
The inning before against Cabrera, he went in on that baseball. He realized now in the conversation in the dugout as soon as he came off the field. Obviously, you get an opportunity to work with Alfredo Griffin and Gary DiSarcina as far as knowing with that arm strength you have, you can stay back on that one as a second baseman as compared to a third baseman where it's a longer throw across the diamond.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty good power numbers for Duvall considering the career at bats.
Yeah, prior to this year, 28 games with the Giants 2 seasons ago. Last year, 27 games with the Reds. This is 119th this year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two. This one's out to center. Trout in a couple of steps. Go away.
Boy, nice adjustment as this game has progressed for Shoemaker. You know, going inside, outside, lower part of the strike zone, changing speeds once again, going back to what he has done since May 21st here at the Big A. 1.21 ERA over that stretch. Those numbers is 7 walks, 70 strikeouts during that stretch. That's 8 home starts, 4-1 mark. Talked about that ERA. Looking for his 3rd straight victory. Should be a season high if he's able to pick this one up here tonight.
Ball and a strike on Phillips, who's 0 for 2. A fly ball to center and a ground ball to short. One and 2. Phillips this offseason essentially traded to the Washington Nationals, but he had to waive his no trade clause. Couldn't seem to work it out. Deal got nixed. Phillips stayed in Cincinnati. And it's been a tough season for him as he goes down swinging here and almost slams the bat down. A 1-2-3 inning for Shoemaker. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. 8-2 Halos. pitches, 6 innings, 6 hits, 7 strikeouts, and no walks as the Angels look to provide even more insurance for him. 5 total home runs by the Angels offense so far. And it'll be Coward, Calhoun, and Trout as Caleb puts a towering fly ball to shallow center. Zach Cozart, who was in the shift, is out there, puts it away for the first out. Caleb 0 for 3 now. Back in the top of the order we go with Cole Calhoun. Simon has calmed things down for the Reds, much like Jhoulys Chacin did for the Angels on Saturday night.
Picked up the W in that game.
Yeah. Two and 2/3 innings now for Simon so far. The one run that he has allowed was to Cole Calhoun. Solo shot into right field, his 13th of the season. First pitch, a strike. This is line to 7. 3-hit game for Cole Calhoun. Now a triple shy of the cycle.
Double down the right field line. Homer. The right field line down that single to center field. Fastball inside, brought his hands inside, lines it right back up the middle for a 3-hit game for Cole Calhoun. Almost had a 4-hit game, but Votto made a nice play on him defensively in the hole.
Trout a home run, a double, and a ground out, so he's 2 for 3. In tight.
Going back to my Hyundai key for this game after a solid road trip. Little home sweet home so far. It has been very good here at the Big A tonight. 5 home runs, 8-2 lead here into the 6th inning.
Three balls, no strikes. Pujols on deck. 2 runs, 6 hits, 3 left on for Cincinnati. 8 runs, 11 hits, and 3 left on for the Halos so far. Ball 4. So 2 on with 1 out, and Pujols coming up.
Designated hitter, number 5, Pujols.
Two for 3 tonight. 26th home run in the first inning, a single with an RBI in the 3rd. Simon struck him out on a breaking ball in the 4th. Lays off.
looking to add on to that RBI total.
Off speed, yanked foul. That was a mistake.
And Albert's been real good, especially on high pitches of late, bringing his hands up and then threw the baseball quickly.
One down low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Crone on deck. Halos with 3 runs in the first, 4 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. Breaking ball, little chopper towards short. Kozak to Phillips. It's going to turn into an easy double play, and the 6th is in the books. We'll head to the 7th. Angels leading at 8-2.
Cincinnati Reds 8-2 here in the top of the 7th. Let's take a look at a game break. Let's go to Cleveland. Mason Kipnis at the plate, 2 on, tie game at 0. The bottom of the 10th, well, no longer tied as Kipnis wins the game, singles to left center field. As Cleveland beats Minnesota. Minnesota has now lost 11 straight. Cleveland wins that one, 1-0. As Cleveland up by 4.5 games on the Detroit Tigers, and Kansas City won today again against New York, 5.5 games back.
Matt Shoemaker back out of the bump. Top of the 7th inning. Schebler, Suarez, and De Jesus are in the 7th for Cincinnati. Shoemaker coming off a 1-2-3 6th, including a strikeout. He has 7 punch outs tonight. 1-1.
And the ability to have that feel for that split finger fastball to get back into counts too for Shoemaker has been very good over this stretch he's been on.
Two-on pitch. Chopper left side. Simmons was in the shift. The ball pops out of his glove, so Schebler will reach for the first time tonight. Hey, get your red on. Angels taking on the Rangers on Sunday, September the 11th. Fans in attendance will receive a patriotic baseball cap courtesy of Chronic Tacos while supplies last. Visit angels.com/promotions to get your tickets. Calling that a base hit for Schebler. Everything's a hit nowadays. There's Suarez, a DH. 0 for 2 with a ground out and a soft liner. Pulls this one down the line. Glove by Marte. Gets up, fires to first, and got him. Nice play by Jeffrey Marte to get the first down here in the 7th.
What an impressive play by Marte down the line, not only to get to that baseball that was hit hard by Suarez right down the line. Dives, gets up quickly, and a strong throw across the diamond to get him by half a step at first base with the stretch. CJ Cron, what a play by Marte. Perfect throw across the diamond. Shoe loves that play by Marte.
Schebler at second, 1 out. Javon DeJesus Jr. at the plate. He's 0 for 2. Struck out on the second, grounded out his last time up. Ground ball to short. There's some late action on Shoemaker's pitches tonight where guys just aren't able to square it up. The pitch was up too, but it just had enough action in on the hands.
Yeah, this is 89th pitch, 62 strikes. That's something the Shoemaker has done very well this year as far as highest first pitch strike percentage in baseball. 68.6% first pitch strikes throughout the season for Shoemaker, which is the 4th best as far as that total in the majors. And another one of those first pitch strikes for Shoe.
Cabrera's been on board twice with a double and a single. One. This is yanked over to first. Cron's got it. And the Reds are done here in the 7th. Stretch time. Halos up 8-2. Series, 2 more games tomorrow night, a 7:05 start, 4 o'clock start on Wednesday. Tomorrow, Tim Adelman going up against Jared Weaver, and then Brandon Finnegan, a one-time Kansas City Royal, going up against Ricky Nolasco. Alfredo Salmon back out of the bump. He's gone 3 1/3 so far. Facing Crone, Simmons, and Marte here in the 7th. C.J. Crone 2 for 3 with a double and a home run. Simon's got a pretty good changeup going tonight.
He used that split finger fastball as his changeup.
Chopper to the right side. Nobody's covering. That'll go as an infield base hit. Cabrera alertly backing up on it.
Crone with a double home run and a single.
So both he and Cole Calhoun triple shy cycles.
And anytime anything's hit to that side of the infield as a pitcher, you go towards first base right away, no matter what. Simon laid the cover. Votto tried to lead him as close as he could to the base. They give him a shot at that play. Able to make it. Field hit for C.J. Crone.
Andrelton Simmons is 0 for 3. Base hit for CJ. 12th hit for the Angels tonight. Chopper left side. Kozar comes in. It's only placed to first. And they get Simmons for the first down. CJ ends up at second. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for details.
Jose Alvarez getting warmed up in the bullpen. Pretty good indication he'll be coming out now. See Shoemaker moves up in the dugout. Usually you'll see him if he's still in the game, that focus he has in the back of the bench. Moved up now. Very solid outing once again for Shoe. 7 innings, just 2 earned runs, no walks once again. You go back to even before this game, his last 19 starts, 7-8 record with a 2.98 ERA for Shoe. Looking in line to be 8-8 in his last 20 starts. Lead holds.
This one pulled down the line. It's a fair ball. Crone will come in to score. Marte is on his way to second base. It's an RBI double. And now Marte, a triple shy of the cycle. 3 guys with 3 hits and all 3 needing the old 3-bagger. Will it happen? Stay tuned.
I'm feeling it. Off-speed pitch. It stayed up. Brought his hands in and lines that one right down the line for an RBI double for Marte. 3 hits, balance in the lineup.
Votto fades Simon. Ortega retired for round number 2. Marte ends up over at third base. Brings up Jeff Bandy. Bandy 0 for 2 with a fly ball to right, a pop up and a walk.
Some running action on that fastball on the inside part of the plate. And he just hooks it foul.
One ball, two strikes. Bandy. This one out to center field. Hamilton moving back on it, and he will track it down for the third out. The Angels out a run. We will head to the eighth, and it's 9-2 Halos.
Is in for the Angels to pitch the top of the eighth. The Halos leading the Reds 9-2. I'm Patrick O'Neill. Hope you stick around after this game for Angels Live. Be joined by Jose Mota and Alex Curry getting all the interviews. Hoping for a very happy and exciting post-game show. So far, so good with all the offensive numbers, and certainly Matt Shoemaker with those 6 scoreless innings after that. 2 runs he allowed in the first, but he was fantastic. Finally combining the runs and the pitching as we sent it inside to Victor and Mark. So many numbers that you see Trout and Pujols climbing up the ladder and all these lists, but for Trout, I mean, entering this age 25 season, do you think he can get to 30-30? I mean, the home run's there, but he needs 9 stolen bases, guys.
He's been very aggressive of late as far as stealing bases. You've been getting good leads, good reads off of pitchers. I think it's a strong possibility, Patrick, that he could do that this season. You can never doubt anything when it comes to Mike Trout, what he's been able to do so effectively this early in his career.
Jose Alvarez on the mound. This will be his 52nd game of his first outing since August the 20th. 1-2 mark at a 3.75 ERA. The Reds will set up the top of their order, and Hamilton, Cozart, and Votto. One defensive change for the Angels. Gregorio Petit takes over at second base, moving Caleb Cowart over to third. Jeffrey Marte is no longer in the game and no longer eligible to go for that cycle. There's Gregorio. So Marte finishes a 3-for-4 night, single, double, home run. Crone has gone single, double, home run. Calhoun, single, double, and home run.
The game between the Giants and the Braves yesterday, I think there was 5 triples hit in that game, so there's always that chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Billy Hamilton, center fielder, 1 for 3. 2-0. Swing and a miss. Switch hitting center fielder had a single, a stolen base, and a run scored in the first. He's grounded out and struck out looking since.
Helped out a little bit. That fastball a little bit off the outside corner. Now even up the count at 2.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Hamilton. 1 down.
And here's what's left in the tank, presented by 76. Jose Alvarez in the game. Bullpen has been very good of late. Solid numbers. Last 5 games. ERA 1.59. That's covering 17 innings. His 3 earned runs. 14 punchouts for the bullpen. Of late, very solid.
Cozart 0 for 1, reaching out a fielder's choice, or hitting into a fielder's choice. That ended the 5th.
An 0-2 count. Matt Shoemaker ahead of the count throughout the game. 0-2. A lot of strikes from Shoe. Alvarez here ahead of the count. 0-2.
Cozart goes down swinging. Good off-speed pitch. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jose. 2 down.
Back-to-back real good off-speed pitches with 2 strikes on hitters for Alvarez.
Joey Votto 1 for 3. Takes inside. A good pitch down and away. Count even up at 1-1.
Good fastball there from Jose Alvarez. Talked about how well he's been throwing that off-speed pitch in this inning. Good spot and location at 91. Votto, like Trout, sees a lot of pitches during the course of an at-bat. 4.31 pitches per plate appearance. 5th most in the majors. Mike Trout at 4.42 pitches per plate appearance.
Votto reaching for it, pulls it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Shoemaker tonight, 7 innings, 7 hits, including the home run to Votto in the first. 7 strikeouts, no walks. And 2 runs in the first inning, of course, earned. 22nd home run of the season for Votto, the only scoring so far in the game. Foul back into Jet. And since that point, just 3 base runners for Cincinnati getting to second base.
Our team has been hot of late also, especially on the offensive side.
Two strikeouts for Alvarez to start this 8th inning. 2-2. Foul back. That's cued up the line. That is a fair ball. Hits the bag. Coward.
Still go!
Oh, wow! What a play by Caleb Coward.
We've seen 2 outstanding throws from infielders tonight. Simmons, and now this play off the base. Reacts quickly and then fires across to get Votto at first. What a play by Coward.
Up by the score of 9-2. What a play by Caleb Coward to finish off the top of the inning.
And keep in mind, he started this game at second base. He's got to be able to concentrate and see that baseball off the base, reacts, and then fires across the diamond at 90 plus. And right down that angle, hits the base as he's going towards the line. It has to redirect to catch the baseball and then put himself back into strong throwing position. The transfer is perfect, and he got a ton on that throw. He'll be able to throw Votto out at first base. And of course, he's leading off the inning to boot.
That is absolutely sick.
Between that throw and Simmons' throw earlier against Hamilton, there's some mileage on the throws.
Blake Wood takes over on the mound for Alfredo Simon. 58th game this year. 5-3 mark at a 3.79 ERA.
Fastball 94 to 98 range, slider, changeup.
Simon went 4 to third, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, including the homer to Calhoun. Caleb 0 for 3. One ball, 2 strikes. Wood now 31, originally a Royals 3rd round pick in 06. Signing as a free agent prior to the season. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Product of Georgia Tech. Cal remains even at 2-2. Wood last year pitching with the Pirates at AAA Indianapolis. Jose Valdez will pitch the 9th. Breaking ball popped up. Brandon Phillips gives way. Devontae Jesus Jr.
That's a great look. He goes, wait a minute, don't you realize I got 4 gold gloves?
And that's at second base too.
Yes.
The pop-up was over there. He's still eyeballing him.
Yes. No smile there.
Oh. Johnny Giavatello feels your pain, Brandon Phillips. Cole, a swing and a miss.
Cole Calhoun has a triple every 121 at bats. So he's in line, looking for that cycle.
Is that why you were on
Yes.
your abacus?
Yes.
Figuring that out for
Yes,
me?
I was.
Oh, what?
It's trying to make you feel like there's a chance.
There's always a chance.
Yes. 4 triples on the season.
Doubled in the first, homered in the 4th, singled in the 6th.
The leader in that category.
1-1. Mike Trout with the last cycle, 2013. Needed a home run in his last at bat and got it. Chopper, right side. Phillips bobbles it, looks at De Jesus, throws on to first. He was wondering if Ivan was going to come over and cut it off.
Or if he could flip it over to him to throw it across the diamond.
He was just checking to see if he was calling for it. Come over and get it. 2 outs, and here comes Trout.
Phillips, a little bobble, looks over. All right, I got this one this time around.
I think he maybe heard footsteps of De Jesus. That's why he looked over, bobbled it. Trout takes low. Mike 2 for 3. Home run and a double. A couple of runs batted in. 5 home runs for the Angels tonight.
Talked about on-base percentage coming into this game. Trout first in the American League. Votto first in the National League. Votto with a little slight edge over Trout, but now Trout with being on base 3 times tonight already is a leader in the majors in that category as far as on-base percentage.
This is hit sharply and almost takes out Corey Blazer, the second base umpire. Like he had a target on his back. Trout with a 3-hit game.
Single, double, home run.
Trout's triple shot of the cycle. How about that? 4 guys tonight with a single, double, and a home run. Trout's not going to be given the opportunity.
Did a nice job as far as bringing his hands inside on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'm hopeful Trout doesn't get an opportunity. Laz Diaz laughing at the replay. Nick Buss takes over as the pinch runner. Cliff Pennington's going to pinch hit for Albert.
What a game for Trout. Again.
Ball gets away and Nick will advance to second. Albert, by the way, finishes 2 for 4. Home run and a single, tying Frank Robinson for 9th all-time, 586th career home run. And the 2 RBIs giving him 103 on the season. One ball, one strike. Pennington keeps his at bat alive. 1-2. One-two. Cliff, little dribbler toward first. Votto comes in. We head to the 9th with the Angels up 9-2. MLB on FS1 returns with doubleheader action. First, the Astros collide with Adrian Beltre and the American League West leading Texas Rangers. Then Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers take on the Royals. Action begins at 12:30 Pacific on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. New pitcher on for the Angels. It's Jose Valdez pitching here in the 9th inning. Valdez pitching in his 12th game. 0-1 record and a 3.38 ERA. Looks like they might. Looks like Carlos Perez was running down. They're going to check Valdez's glove. Oh, the two-tone. You can only have one color. That's what it is.
Yep.
He's got the light tan on the webbing. I mean, it's a cool looking glove, but you got to know that you can only use a solid glove on the mound. So that's the delay. That looks like somebody's infielder's glove. That's why I think Carlos Perez was running down. There comes the glove. There you go. So Jose will get an opportunity to finish up his warm-up pitches here before we start the 9th inning. Jose will try to close it out for Matt Shoemaker. He's looking to pick up his 9th win of the season. 7 innings tonight for Shoe. 7 strikeouts, no walks, and 2 runs. Didn't allow that first inning to kind of snowball on him at all.
I mean, right away the offense picked him up, which, you know, this season it's been a tough thing for Shoe, not getting a lot of run support. Lately he has. In position to win his 3rd game in a row, but the offense came right back with 3. And he settled down and was outstanding through 7 innings of quality pitching tonight.
Duvall, Phillips, and Schebler coming up for Cincinnati here in the 9th. Angels with Nick Buss taking over as the pinch runners. Stays in the game. He's in left. Rafael Ortega takes over center field. No other changes for the Halos. 14 hit attack tonight, including 5 home runs. This one's lined to left, and it's a leadoff single. 2nd hit of the night for Duvall. Bring up Brandon Phillips. Oh, Phillips bloops one. Prone moving back on it, and he'll make the play for the out.
Prone able to run that one down.
One out, one on. Scott Schebler at the plate. Schebler 1 for 3. Well, actually, Holt's going to pinch hit for him, Tyler Holt. This one's fouled off. Holt the .213 average this year, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 8 RBIs.
When you look at the glove that Valdez used yesterday in the game, use it in the game in Detroit, use it again, tried to use it again tonight, but this time was unable to do so. Yep. Two-tone color glove.
Upstairs. 2 balls, 1 strike. Late on the fastball. Evens up the count. They called a balk. Didn't come set. Quick pitched him. They forget that there was a man on.
Yeah, right there, you got to come to a discernible stop.
That's not even close.
No.
I mean, that's not even a college move. Gloves throwing him off.
Yep.
So no pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Actually would have worked out nicely had there been no base runner.
Yeah.
We've seen him do that quite a bit, the old quick pitch. Rafi Lopez out of the on-deck circle. He'll pinch hit for Suarez, a DH. And there's a walk. So 2 off with 1 out. And Lopez coming up. .213 average at AAA this year. Holt at second. Check that. Duvall at second and Holt at first.
Valdez, ever since that one quick pitch, which is called for a balk, has really struggled with the strike zone now.
Perhaps a couple of former teammates here at spring training at Lopez and Valdez. Rafi at spring training with the Tigers. It's a non-roster invitee released on April the 1st. Playing in the Atlantic League. My old stomping grounds, independent ball. Signed with the Reds on May the 3rd. This is pulled down the line. It's a fair ball. Crum will take it himself. 2 down. The ball ends up at third. Holt at second base. And Ivan De Jesus Jr. due up. Halos an out away from taking the first game of this 3-game set. Check swing. Bandit comes out from behind the plate, fires the first, light that baby up as the Angels take the first one by the final of 9-2.
What an offensive performance tonight by Cole Calhoun, Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, C.J. Cron, Jeffrey Marte. 5 home runs, 14 hits, 9 runs scored. Matt Shoemaker picks up his 9th victory of the season, 9-13. But what a job once again, all-around performance, pitching, defense, and the offense rolling here in Game 1 of this 3-game set against Cincinnati.
And Matt Shoemaker picking up that W, and a nice outing for him today. Gave up that home run to Votto in the first, but settled down nicely. And the Angels, for the second straight start for Shoe, providing him plenty of run support, made it stand up as the Angels rack out a total of 14 hits. And of course, the memorable home run by Albert Pujols, 586. And the Angels with 4 players tonight falling a triple shy of the cycle. That's got to be a record. But Cole had a big game. He's one of those 4, and he's down to the field. Alex Curry.
Cole, what an exciting game to watch tonight. 4 of you guys were a triple shy of the cycle tonight. What sparked this Angels offense?
We've been playing good baseball lately, and a little home cooking. It's nice to be back home, even for a short series. But, you know, it just clicked tonight.
And Matt Shoemaker really shut things down after that first inning. How nice was it to be able to give him that kind of early run support?
Matt's been throwing the ball well for us for a long time. Yeah, the early homer, but to get 3 runs in the first inning and let him settle down out there, and we put up some more runs, and you know, he went out and did what he's been doing all year.
And one of those guys putting up run is Albert Pujols. It seems like every single game he's making more history. Is it surreal to watch him hit those milestones on a nightly basis?
Yeah, I mean, he's swinging the bat well, and it's fun playing on the same team as him right now. He's been doing it for a long time, and pretty special to watch.
It has been. Well, congratulations on the win. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Angels take a big win here in Game 1 for this mini homestand, thanks to the explosive Angel bats and an outstanding outing from Matt Shoemaker. We'll break it all down next on Angels Live with Patrick O'Neill and Jose Mota.